Hello everyone. Welcome to this video. Many students they asked me and they always send me email, especially from South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, and they always ask for scholarship, PhD scholarships. And some students they said that okay, if I can make a video on this one, that will be great for that one. So it's mainly for international students, and just to cover what are the opportunities for a student in Australia. First of all, when you apply, you always see the universities. Like in Australia, there are different kind of universities, and first of all, I'd say group of eight, and they are called group of eight universities. They are around eight. They are largest, oldest, and highly ranked. And whenever we see their ranking, these universities usually get highest ranking, and that's all always in different fields. And group of eight, where are these ones? If we say from this end, University of Queensland, Brisbane, where I work, and if we go to that, then we go to Sydney, and in Sydney there are two universities under this category: University of Sydney, University of New South Wales. And after that, if we go to Canberra, which is the capital of Australia, it's Australian National University. Then we go further down, it's Melbourne, University of Melbourne, as well as Monash University there. University of Adelaide here, and in Western Australia, there is only one university, University of Western Australia. So these are a group of eight universities when see university ranking. Now, there are other universities also. They are usually small or smaller and new also, and their main focus is teaching. There are research focused also, but main is teaching. So just example, there are several, hundreds of those ones. University of Southern Queensland, where I live, it's in Toowoomba, this area. And in Brisbane, Queensland University of Technology, they call it QUT. Further north around here, Rockhampton, that's Central Queensland University. University of New England in New South Wales, Armidale. Wagga Wagga, Charles Sturt University. These are some examples only. There are several. And then in Sydney, there is Western Sydney University also. If we go to Perth, there's Curtin University and Murdoch University. So there are different other universities also, other than group of eight. So now, there's universities in Australia, and there are universities in the Northern Territory also, Charles Darwin. Now, students, they apply for different programs, and mostly they come for master's coursework, and it is the same like in your countries. You have got mainly coursework, and then you have to do 1 or 2 semester research. So courses plus little research, and that this research is not that important. Even you can have only 2-3 weeks of research also, so it's not that critical here. Mainly it's about teaching these courses usually, and I will talk mostly about what's at my universities, but you can find in other universities also these similar courses. So these are usually self-paid, but some universities they give you 25% discount on fee, or sometimes they give you 6 months accommodation, but usually they are self-paid and limited scholarships. But there are some scholarships available from like Australia Award given to mainly Asian and African students. You need to check that one. But most of our students they here at UQ where I teach, mostly 80-90% comes from India and China, and they are self-paid. And you need to first check fees depending on universities. Some are very expensive, and you can say up to 90,000 Australian dollar for this degree program. In other universities, it may be around 50,000, but you need to really check. So these things you need to consider before you apply for a degree. So check fees. Also, if you are interested in rankings, check ranking in your field of interest. of that university. For example, we call this University of Queensland is #1 in agriculture in Australia, and it is within 50 among the world's university. Also, you need to really make sure that what's your purpose of studying here. You want to go back and because some students they are they work in the government department in their country and they are funded by some scholarship, but they have to go back. So you need to check. Or some people they want to get training and then work here. You need to really, and also some students they want to do PhD after that one. So these are all different purposes. So you need to really check where you want to go, what town also. Some are in rural areas. Some people prefer cities like Sydney or Melbourne. Some people prefer small towns. Also, you need to check English requirements, and this also different for different universities. I think at UQ we need overall 6.5, and then under each category, those speaking, listening, you need to have at least 6. Or other way, you need to check, and all universities have got different requirements. So that's mainly MSc coursework. Now, for this is called higher degree, programs or degrees, higher degree students, and here we refer mainly HDR. First of all, you need to understand in Australia there is only research. Okay, no coursework in these ones, and these are considered MPhil or PhDs. MPhil is master philosophy. It's usually 2 years research, only research. PhD is 3.5 to 4 years of research, so you get plenty of time just doing research. So that's there is no coursework here. Again, at the University of Queensland, at my uni, self-paid degrees are rarely allowed, and I'm talking here mainly for international students. And they were allowing earlier, but some people, they came and here because it was too expensive fees. If you see here fee, now it's per year about 50,000 Australian dollar per year, and if you are doing PhD, it's 3.5 to 4 years, or MPhil is 2 years. So it can be that's only fee, and that can be very, very expensive. And then you should have at least $2,000 to $3,000 every month for your expenses. Okay, so that can be very expensive. So that's why. So what happened? UQ used to allow, but sometimes people came and they found it's very expensive, and they changed their degrees and they went to low-ranking university where it was cheaper, and it was not really good for the university. So that's why they're rarely allowed, but in some cases they allow. For example, if you are working in a company and if they want to fund your PhD, they can provide a letter that they will provide that a fee you can have. Okay, or sometimes some governments have got their own scholarships. So self-paid options not here. In other universities there are, so you need to check each university. So need to apply for a scholarship. I'm talking about at UQ. But the thing is, MPhils and PhDs, they are both placed in the same pool when they select candidates. So it means MPhil, they are coming after a bachelor degree. So it means they may not be very competitive compared to PhDs. So I would suggest better to apply for PhDs when you have got few publications or you have already done MSc from somewhere. Okay. And here I mentioned in the previous slide MSc coursework. So these are students are considered for this scholarship here if they are already studying at UQ at my uni, and when there are those rounds open, they are considered as domestic students. So they get advantage if they are here. They can apply for those scholarships. Also, you can apply for maximum of 2 times in each university. So don't think that, oh, you take chance this time and you can apply again and again. No, you are not allowed. Okay. I hope this is all clear now. It's all research based, MPhil versus PhD, and you need to apply for a scholarship. Now, for scholarships, you need to check each university's website, and usually they call it graduate school. You need to check, and here this is the link for our UQ scholarship, and this one I just pasted just for your information. This was opened this April in 2024, but for students who will start, this is called research quarter one. So there are 4 quarters in a year: January to March, April to June, July to September, October, November, December. That comes in the fourth quarter. So this opened on the 1st of April, just giving you example, and the last date was 19, so you had around 6-7 weeks, and then process starts here. It's not really, it does not depend on us. On us means on supervisors. You have to apply, and then there is a committee, and they will check that one, and then they announce this outcome. So this was for last time in around one, but these students, successful applicants, will start next year in January, or they can start in April, depending on their visa conditions. Now, scholarships again, they used to be 2 to 3 rounds, scholarship rounds at my university. I'm talking about every year, but now you see the last one was in April this year, and next one will open next year April. So it's only looks like once in a year, so it's reduced, and that's because financial situation is not good for many universities, especially after COVID. Or what happened in Australia, mostly universities, they get their funding from students, their fees, but because of COVID for 3 years we did not have students, international students, and most universities are in really big trouble in terms of financial situation. So that's why they are, and I think in future, if situation improves, they may go again from 1 to 2 to 3 rounds. So that's again open in April next year. So you still have time around 7-8 months if someone wants to apply, and but it's not that easy. I will discuss that one, and those students will start in January 2026. So it's a long way. Now, how to apply? First, you need to check your eligibility. So what are those ones? Whether you have completed some research experience. So if you have not done any research, you may not be eligible. That's why they say that you need to apply for MPhil. Also, your degree should be from an approved university degree, from approved university. It's not really just getting degree from somewhere and then you apply. Also, you should meet the English language requirement. As I mentioned earlier, different universities have different requirements. And once you think that yes, you are eligible, you check approach a supervisor. Here for it's different than your MS coursework. In MS coursework, you don't need to contact any supervisor. You just apply directly there. But here for MPhil or PhD, this higher degree, is you need to approach a supervisor and with relevant experience. And why I'm mentioning this one, people with plant breeding, they just send me an email that, oh, they have done in plant breeding and they are interested in this one. No, and you won't really get a response most of the time because you are not sending to the right person. So if that's not related to your field, you should not really. If your experience is in plant breeding, send to a plant breeder, not to an agronomist. Okay, or think that way. And how you approach, you can find that one. If you don't know, usually people know that, oh, that particular person, he or she, they are working in that particular area and they have got that international standing, and you approach them. But even if you don't know, but here I just gave example for UQ researchers. You type here, if you are interested in plant breeding, when you type plant breeding, you will find all scientists working in that area. Or if you are typing agronomy or weeds, biochemistry, whatever, or even name also, then you can see their profile. Okay, so that's the first one. You need to approach a supervisor. Now, your supervisor will interview will ask you a few questions. Also, they won't really support because they are very competitive applications, and we are not allowed to support 3 4 per round. We have to select best one or two. So that's why you should be very competitive. So you need to understand the selection criteria. At UQ, there are three criteria. So criteria one, candidate, it's about you. 80% marks are given are allocated about your performance, about your CV. Only 10% about the environment, like where you are applying, which school. For example, I am with the Queensland Alliance for Agriculture and Food Innovation. What is there? And criteria three is about advisory team. Like if you apply with me, I need to provide that team and also what is its strength. So we will discuss one by one, but you need to understand that for each criteria, I have to, or whoever supporting your application, they have to prepare 150 words, not more than 150, and they have to cover what's good in you in 150 words. Why you should be given this opportunity, given this scholarship. And then 10%, again, this is again, we have to compile in 150 words. This is also again 150, but this is very important for candidate. And what are those things where supervisors they look for and committees look for? And I put here, first of all, let's discuss here and then we can summarize on the right side. First of all, you need to demonstrate your academic achievement, like your percentage or what your ranking within your class, your first. Also, if you won any prize, like best gold medal somewhere or any awards, scholarship during your degree. So that's one. So you need to mention that one in your CV when you submit that one, because those 150 words will include all these things. And so it means high marks, ranking, and awards. Also, most of these universities in Asia or in developing countries, they don't really have high ranking, but that's also considered here, ranking of your university. So don't always think about global ranking. Just also see within your country, also within agriculture, if you are applying in agriculture. Okay, so you need to give some kind of ranking from where you did your bachelor's or master's. Now, also, if you don't know, many people think that PhD is done only in that way, BSc, MSc, and then PhD. No, if you have done honors and if you got a high distinction, you can apply directly for PhD. Okay, that's here allowed, and it's mostly people from Sri Lanka. They have got honors one and they apply. Usually that honors is different than in many universities in India, because in honors you should do a research project. That's considered here honors. So also you should have outstanding performance there. Also, this is very important. Most important one is research outputs, your publication, because they are given publication in not in any journal or magazines. They should be in high impact factor Q1 or Q2 journals. Okay, and I say that it's unfairly, different disciplines are placed in the same pool here. For example, if an agronomist, they need to do 2 seasons trial, then only they can publish. But someone working in the biochemistry area or molecular one, they just do things like within 6 months publish in high impact factor journals, and they get always those scholarship. So that's unfair to me, but still you have to. And all universities have got different criteria for each discipline, but that's what at least at my department happens. Publications you should have in Q1 or Q2 journals. So don't think just immediately after MSc you should apply. If you don't have publication, you can try. Sometimes you can work for 1 or 2 years in a group where they will give you that type of opportunity where you can publish in good journals, and then you can apply. So this is very important. I feel out of 80%, 50, 60% is about publication. If you have got 2, 3, 4 publications in these journals, yeah, you have got a good chance. Also, referees. What happens when you submit your application? You need to nominate 2 to 3 referees name, and they should provide confidentially, and they need to give you excellent a ranking, excellent grading. If they keep you in the middle somewhere, you lose those marks. Okay. And also relevant experience. So for example, if you, as I mentioned earlier, if you have done something in plant breeding and you have got 4 or 5 papers, and as an agronomist, I support your application because I feel you have got papers, but that will not be considered in a positive way by the committee, because you are proposing something in the agronomy area and your experience is in plant breeding or molecular ones, which is not related. Also, you need to select, again, a supervisor should have same expertise like you had, and also your experience. So these 3 things, whatever you are proposing, supervisors and your experience, they all should really relate to each other. Also here, you don't need to propose a project. It's usually what is available with the supervisor. Okay. And they should have enough money. So these are some of the important ones. So most important one, your rankings, awards, marks, your publications, and referees report. These are very important. Also, if you have done any work as a researcher after doing your degrees, last degree, you should not think about that one. Also, one important thing, your last degree should not be older or than 10 years. For example, if you apply in 2024 for a PhD scholarship and your master's was in 2013, so it's more than 10 years, you are not eligible for these scholarships. So make sure that you consider these ones. Second criteria, as I mentioned, it's about environment. So environment of the department. Okay, like if you apply with me, so whether there is sufficient funding to support research cost, and that should also I should have those projects. So you need to check there are projects with those supervisors or not. I've seen some supervisors in the past, they supported students, but students struggled because there was not enough money in that group. So funding is very important. That's what I need to prepare as a supervisor. If I support an application, I need to prepare about 150 words and about what funding is available with me. Publication also about supervisor, their publication emphasis, whether in that group I'm talking about in the department, whether they consider this publication. So for students, publications is very important. Don't really bring here practical or impactful research versus publication. No, for students it's not about it's not always about impact. It's more about advanced research, advanced science. So it means publication is very important, and especially if you are doing a PhD. Also, what kind of support you get from your department, that's all included here. And those 10% is, your supervisor will write that one. Also, what are the opportunities for the student for growth, for their growth, if they start PhD in that particular department, okay? Whether that department has got some seminar program, so it's all related to the opportunity. So I think it's all clear criteria too. Third one is about, again, it's only 10%, but that also matters. So as you say, 80% is about you, only 20% is about the department or advisory team. And advisory team is what is their track record. So it means they are international and national standing in their field. For example, if someone applies with me, I need to show in 150 words like my track record. So it's about boasting, what you have done, and in terms of publication and in terms of students training. So also, who are your co-supervisors? What's their track record? Okay. Usually, advisory team. Sometimes you don't find another or a co-supervisor with the same expertise. So we have to take someone who can provide complementary expertise if they don't have the same expertise. Okay. Also, this one, last one, good mentoring and demonstrate support. So we have to show that how you will be mentored. So also how many people in that team. For example, I have got 3-4 postdocs or 3-4 students. So that one I need to include there, so that 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 point shows that there will be discussion, and there will be regular meetings, and you will learn from senior people. So these three, I hope now it's all clear. Now, it's not that easy. I can see that in Australia, but I just want to give a very quick one. I'm not much familiar with this one, but I will give you a quick point. But I will ask in future videos. I'll ask some friends from the US if they provide, their perspective, what's there available. But with my research and with from my juniors, I can understand that Australia really very tough because limited funding in agriculture. People think that, oh, there is lots of money, it's very big country. No, I think you mistake. I feel mostly people, comes for 95% students, they come in agriculture, but 95% students, they end up doing something else out of 100% agriculture students. They're doing something else, they do their business. So it's very tough. It's limited funding. USA, I can say much easier because fees, you saw that one, fees are very expensive here. So their fees are, there are also land grant universities, less fee, and also there is strong programs to support students. So they have got special programs also. So there, you have to just directly contact a supervisor. They will interview you and they will finalize whether they are happy with you and they want to take you or not. Okay. You may need to send emails to several people, send those emails, because not all will respond. Sometimes you have to send to 30, 20, 40 people, and then you get one response. Okay, so don't think that people are not responding. Yes, people sometimes they don't have time, they are not interested, so it means they won't really respond. And third, you are applying to a wrong person, like as I mentioned previously. You are plant breeding and applying with a biochemist or somewhere. Okay, so this is all clear now. In US, how will you find there? So one, I mentioned you will contact the supervisor directly. But second one, I just give example for weeds people. For agronomy also, there are different websites there. Check their societies websites. So scholarships in the US, you see, like for example, in Weed Science Society of America, if you go on that one, they actually post here jobs as well as this one I just copied, jobs as well as students scholarship. I give you just example, for example, and here people call this graduate research assistantship, and it's there, not really in Australia. And sometimes I get emails that, oh, in spring you have got some opportunities for graduate research assistantship. No, these all things are not really everywhere. So you need to really see before you compile your, your email. So they call it graduate research assistantship, and they give you an amount also, how much they will give you. But here it's really different. Sometimes you have to work in your supervisor's project also. Okay, and that's included within that one. You can't, in Australia that's not the case. In Australia, if you are given a scholarship, you will work only in your project. Your supervisors won't ask you to do work in other unpaid, I'm talking about. They will not ask you to do work, unpaid work in their project. But that's possible because these are assistantship in the US. The second one, PhD opening. So first one, they called it graduate research opening. This one is PhD openings and digital agronomy. That's a recent one from Texas, from my friend there. Now, that was all about students, and I thought that I'm getting lots of emails for postdocs positions also. I thought I should add one or two slides for that also. Now, things have changed here in Australia, at least in the last 10 years or 15 years. Earlier, people used to send emails, and if there was opportunity, you would apply. And there were some other government funded programs also, like Australian Endeavour Fellowship, where you apply and you will get. But now things have changed. For example, okay, now in Australia, postdocs are considered a job. So it means they must be advertised. You can't really give them directly. You need to also see applied. For example, I work in applied field, and my mostly funding comes from growers, grain growers. So it means I can't really bring someone from outside, and if they have even published papers, no. For me, I should, I think I should be confident that the candidate will have good oral communication, because in my case they have to actually communicate with the growers, funding bodies, with other. So it's very tough here. What is fundamental type of, if you are in molecular science, so then it's easier, because when you apply, if there are postdocs positions, when you apply, they don't really see your experience within Australia, they see in your field. So that's very different. So you need to consider this one, applied versus fundamental. Also, work rights. Some of these positions are only for domestic, only for Australian. So just an example, I just saw this morning these positions, postdoc research fellow at Charles Sturt University in Wagga Wagga, and they have mentioned here this position is open to Australian citizens and permanent residents, or who hold a current valid work visa. So it means if you are overseas, if you don't have that valid work visa, you can't apply. So you need to really check these things. I know I clearly mentioned in one of previously advertised postdoc positions in iLab, clearly mentioned that's mainly for Australian citizens or permanent residents. Still, people applied, and there were about 83 applications from outside of Australia. So you need to check there. Why to waste time there where if it's not really related to that? So as I mentioned earlier, local experience is relevant in some of that one. So that's why it's very important to have a person who has got this local experience. Nowadays, limited funding, so preference for a trained person. What that mean? Because we have got limited funding, so if I have trained a person here, even if he or she is my PhD student, I would prefer them, because that's what happens. Because I know that I have trained them, they have got local experience, and they have worked with those growers. So I'll prefer. So these things happen. So just for you to understand, how these postdocs positions are advertised and filled in Australia. Also, for postdocs, definitely publications are must when you apply in high impact factor and Q1 journals. If you have not published, and if you published only in your local, in your country journals, regional journal, no, you will not really given in consideration. So make sure that you have got these, about this point. Same as I mentioned, USA still. So in Australia, postdoc positions are considered as a job, so it means they have to be advertised. But in Australia, you can postdocs are still considered training. Okay, so they are, and they expect that within 2, 3, 4 years, you get your own position like assistant professor, or and develop your own group. But in Australia, that's not the case. Even if you are 55, 60 years old, you can still be a postdoc. So you don't really have that type of pressure. So in the US, it's still considered training. It means you can directly contact a person and ask them if there are positions for you. Sometimes they may not have at that particular time, but they may have in the next 6 months. So you just ask for that one and be prepared. But again, make sure that you ask to a relevant person where your expertise and their expertise are similar. Okay, or you can look for advertisement. As I mentioned here, this is just an example of Weed Science Society of America. You can see on other societies also. So that's postdoctoral research scholars. So they have advertised these positions and given, and some of them they are only for their citizens, but others are open to international candidates. Okay. All right. I think that's what I wanted to present about opportunities, so that students know before they contact people and before they apply for different masters or PhD programs. Again, as usual, for what you want me to present next time, I think that now I'll start presenting about weeds, different kind of weeds, their biology, and we'll select species wise. And then again, from September, I will invite a few people and we'll get their interview, what they are doing in their lab, and their experience, their expertise. We will try to cover that one. I have contacted some people and we'll start that in September. Again, I have to do these ones in my off time or when I'm not working for my uni or on weekends, so I can't really keep posting regularly. Again, this one, last one, again, advertisement for our new journals. We have launched this journal, and first issue should come in December. Therefore, we are requesting people to submit their articles, and as I mentioned earlier also, there are no charges for the first 2 years, but we look for high impact factor articles. With that one, thank you very much, and have a nice